इस बीच संसद में प्रतिपक्ष के नेता अपनी बातें रख रहे हैं। सुनिए राहुल गांधी क्या कुछ कह रहे हैं।
The data that is used to make electric cars, the data that is used to make basically all electronics on the planet today is owned by China. And the consumption data is owned by the United States. In China, the consumption data is owned by China, but in India, companies like Google, companies like Facebook, companies like Instagram, X, they own our consumption data. So if India wants to talk about AI, it has to first answer the question, what data is going to power that AI? And the answer today is India does not have that data. Neither does India have production data, neither does India have consumption data. We have handed our consumption data to the big American companies, and the production data we don't have anyway. So what would that vision look like? The first thing, we would start getting youngsters excited about this revolution. We would start to introduce the idea of a completely new way of moving, a complete revolution in how things move. We would start teaching our children in schools about batteries, about electric motors, about how these things combine, about how drones, robots, electric cars are structured, how they will work together. And most important, we have to start building a production network so that we can get access to production data. Now, what would we focus on? We would not give you a laundry list. China has at least a 10-year lead on India in this space. China has been working on batteries, robots, motors, optics for the last 10 years, and we are behind. So what would our president's address say to the youngsters? We will choose critical areas in each one of these technologies, and we will start to build capabilities in those areas. The second thing we would do, we would ensure that our banking system is not captured by 2 or 3 companies that basically do not allow you to build a production system. But our banking system is open, is dynamic, and is accessible to small and medium businesses and to millions and millions of entrepreneurs who want to take part in this revolution. Our foreign policy would take into account this revolution. When we talk to the United States, we would not send our foreign minister to invite our prime minister to his coronation. We would not send him 3 or 4 times, please invite our prime minister. Because if we had a production system and if we were working on these technologies, the American president would come here and invite the prime minister. So it is important to understand where
Please. Without foreign policy. Leader of opposition cannot make such serious, unsubstantiated statement. This is related to the relation between 2 countries, and he is making an unverified statement about invitation of the Prime Minister of our country. It's matter of our dignity. How can you make such kind of statement? He is leader of opposition, sir. He should be responsible in making such statement.
Sir, LOP is giving us very positive suggestions. Why they are worried, sir? For the country, he is giving.
Leader of opposition has the information from any official source. He must inform the House. If leader of opposition has the information, please inform the House.
Okay.
Who has told you that foreign ministers visited for the purpose which we have mentioned? You must specify it.
So, I'm sorry that disturbed you, that question. I apologize for disturbing your peace of mind. It's okay. I've apologized. I've apologized for disturbing your peace of mind. I'm sorry.
Apologize for lying to the House. ऐसा नहीं होता है। तो सीरियस होना चाहिए लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन को। कम से कम देश के मामले में तो एक हो, देश के मामले में तो एक वॉइस से बोलना चाहिए। ये गलत बात है, ये ठीक नहीं है। लीडर ऑपोजिशन को इस तरह का बयानबाजी नहीं करना चाहिए। ये गंभीर विषय पर चर्चा चल रही है।
So we would start by telling our young men and women that they have to be at the forefront of this revolution. We cannot afford that the Chinese are at the forefront of this revolution. Number one. Number two, we would ensure that the absolute best experts on these technologies would talk to our students, would talk to our youngsters and guide them on what a future, on what these future technologies are going to do. We would make them partners in this revolution. Now, we talk about defense. And today, we have the Chinese. And the Prime Minister has denied it. And the army has contradicted the Prime Minister. It's true. The Prime Minister has denied it. The Prime Minister has denied it. And the army has disagreed with the Prime Minister that China is sitting on 4,000 square kilometers of our land, of our territory.
ऐसा इस सदन में अब मन चाहे बात नहीं बोल सकते हैं। ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है सर। ये सीरियस मामला है। आप फॉरेन पॉलिसी पे, बॉर्डर इश्यू पर आप अपना कैसे मजाक बात कर सकते हैं? अपना मन गढ़ंत कहानी आप बना के बोल रहे हैं। ये तो बहुत सीरियस मामला है।
विदेशी प्रतिपक्ष के नेता जो आप विषय बोल रहे हैं, जो विषय आप बोल रहे हैं, उसके तथ्यों को
Let me speak.
सदन के पटल पे रखना आप।
पानी।
अनुरोध है, लीडर ऑपोजिशन बोलिए, हम लोग शांति से सुनेंगे। ये आपका अधिकार है बोलने का, मगर आप मन चाहे ऐसा सीरियस इशू पे कैसे बोल सकते हैं? ये सीरियस मामला है।
आप सदन में बोल रहे हैं,
से बोलते हो, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर का बात कर देते हो, सीमा का बात ऑफिशियल वर्जन से अलग बात करते हैं। ऐसा मत बोलिए, ये देश के लिए ठीक नहीं है। आपको सीरियस होना पड़ेगा लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन। ये गंभीर मामले को आप ऐसा
The Prime Minister has denied that Chinese forces are inside our territory, but for some reason, our army keeps talking to the Chinese about their entry into our territory, and our Chief of Army Staff has said that the Chinese are inside our territory. This is a fact. This is not invention, this is a fact. Now, but the reason China is inside our territory is important. Because people think that wars are fought between armies and their weapons. But the fact of the matter is that wars are fought by industrial systems. The fact of the matter is that China has an industrial system that is far stronger, far bigger than our industrial system. And that is why they have the guts to come inside this country. The reason China is sitting inside this country is because Make in India has failed. The reason China is sitting inside this country is because India is refusing to produce. And I am worried that India is going to give up this revolution to the Chinese once again. The reason I made this reference is because everything is connected. If and when we fight a war with China, we will be fighting with Chinese electric motors, Chinese batteries, Chinese optics, and we will be buying Chinese motors, Chinese optics, Chinese batteries. It is a non-sustainable proposition. That is why for our security, for the future of our Children, for the future of our country, we have to build a production system, and we cannot allow this revolution to go by. Now, the next step, we have a strategic partner called the United States. The partnership should focus on how India and the United States can work together to take advantage of this revolution. That is what the conversation should be on. Please understand that India is as important as the United States for the simple reason that they cannot build an industrial system without us. They cannot build a production system without us. No matter what they say, the Americans simply cannot do what India can do because their cost structure is much, much, much more expensive than ours. We can build things that the Americans would never imagine. India can do that. So that would be the first part of a president's address. We would talk to the youngsters in India and say to them, we want you to be partners in this revolution. We want to change the Indian banking system so you can have access to it. And we believe in you, we trust in you, and we believe you can take on the Chinese. That's the first part. The second part would be about participation. We have done a caste census in Telangana, and what we have found is shocking. Almost 90% of Telangana is either Dalit, Adivasi, backward, or minority. Almost 90% India Gathbandhan leader would give you. The final, of course, we go back to the Constitution. This, our favorite, just like the production system is a weapon, just like Jati Jangarna is a weapon of transformation, this is what the entire architecture is built on. I remember before the elections, all of you were saying 400 par, and you were saying you would change this. And then I was glad to see that the Prime Minister walked in and then was forced to bow his head in front of the Constitution. It was a moment of pride for all Congress people that we had explained to the Prime Minister and to the whole country that no force will dare touch this. I know that the RSS has never accepted this. Mohan Bhagwatji has said that India didn't get independence in 1947. He has said that this constitution is meaningless. I know that that is at your heart. We will never let your dream come true. This constitution is going to rule India always. Now,
एक मिनट आप प्रतिपक्ष के नेता हैं, मेरा आपसे आग्रह है कि जो विषय आप रखें वह तथ्यों पर आधार पर रखें, उचित होगा। मैंने आपको पहले भी कहा, और जो सदन के सदस्य नहीं हैं उनकी चर्चा न करें।
बताता हूं सर, मोहन भागवत
आप नियम प्रक्रियाओं की पालन करें, आपसे अपेक्षा।
सर, मोहन भागवत जी ने स्टेटमेंट दिया।
मोहन भागवत का स्टेटमेंट
Speaker sir, Mohan Bhagwat ji made a statement saying that India did not receive independence in 1947. It received independence when the Ram Mandir was inaugurated. We will place that on the table. Now, sir, I would like to mention one small thing, but very important thing. Speaker sir, this constitution is supported by this constitution is supported by the vote of our people. Without the secure vote of the Indian people, this constitution means nothing. Now I want to bring to the notice of this House some data, some information about the Maharashtra election. Very simple stuff. Speaker sir, between the Lok Sabha election, which the India Alliance won and the Vidhan Sabha election, the voting population of Himachal Pradesh was added to the voting roll of Maharashtra. Meaning the entire population of Himachal Pradesh was added to the voter rolls of Maharashtra. Please understand what I am saying. In Lok Sabha, the difference between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha was the population of Himachal. The entire population, almost 70 lakh new voters suddenly arrived between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. Now, the most interesting part, and the Prime Minister is not looking at me. The most interesting part,
सुन रहा है मजबूरी है आप
the
तर्क
most
में बात करना
interesting part,
बाद में सब सुनेंगे
देख नहीं रहे
तर्क में बात करो
मुंह नीचे कर लिया suddenly. The most interesting part is Sir, Maharashtra में more voters were added in 5 months in Maharashtra than were added in 5 years in Maharashtra. जितने 5 साल में ऐड हुए उससे ज्यादा 5 महीने में ऐड हुए, आखिरी 5 महीने में लोकसभा चुनाव के बाद. सर, एक बिल्डिंग है सर शिरडी में, एक बिल्डिंग में 7,000 नए वोटर एक बिल्डिंग में ऐड हुए सर. एक बिल्डिंग में 7,000 नए वोटर ऐड हुए सर. सर, मैं कोई आरोप नहीं लगा रहा हूं, मैं कोई आरोप नहीं लगा रहा हूं. मैं सिर्फ ये कह रहा हूं सर कि ये इसमें कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लमैटिक है कि हिमाचल प्रदेश जितने बड़े वोटर्स लोकसभा के बाद जादू से आ जाते हैं. अब हम क्या कह रहे हैं, हमने इलेक्शन कमीशन से रिपीटेडली कहा है कि हम आरोप नहीं लगा रहे हैं. आप एक काम कीजिए, हमें लोकसभा की वोटर लिस्ट दे दीजिए, नेम एड्रेस और इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली दीजिए, और विधानसभा नहीं है, नहीं सर.